Hi, this is Nimla Rednam. In this video, we are going to quickly solve the remaining sums of exercise 5.4. Okay, so first sum, we are supposed to find the square root using long division method. 2304 was already done in the previous video. So I'm going to take the next one, which is 4489. First step is I'm going to put the bars. And then what is closest perfect square to 44? It is 36. 6 into 6 is 36. So when I subtract these two, I have 8. Okay, I'm going to bring down the next bar, right? And double of 6 is 12. And I have to figure out this, the next digit. Now, I already told you, whenever you have to do this, you look at the ones place. I have 9. So, it's either 3 because 3 square is 9 or 7 because 7 square is 49, right? So, one of these two is going to work clearly because it's in 800s. So, it has to be 7, okay? This is going to work for us because when they're asking you to find the square root, as of now, you know how to find the square root of only perfect squares, right? So that is why this is going to, narrow it down to just two possibilities. Otherwise, you have to check for 120 into 0, 121 into 1, 122 into 2, so on. Other than that, if you look at the ones place, it's going to become easier for you, time saving, okay? So 7 sevens and then 18. So we have our 889. So the number that I have to place here is 7, right? And I have remainder 0. Therefore, what is the square root of 4489? The answer is 67. Third question, I have 3481, right? So 3481. First step is putting the bars and then check for 34. Closest is 25. So I'm going to write 5 5s 25. When I take the subtraction of these two, I'm going to get 9, right? And then I'll bring down these two. So I have 981. Okay, so twice of 5 is 10 and I have to figure this out. Again, look at 1. So it's either 1 square or 9 square. Okay, clearly it's not 1 square. Okay, clearly it's not 1. So I'm going to check 9 and it's going to work for me. So I have 9 here, 981. So that is my square root of 3481 is 59. So let's move on to the fourth question. I have fourth question. Let me show it to you. We have 529, right? So let's solve that. I have 529. First step is I'm going to put the bars, right? And what is the closest perfect square to 5? It is 4. 2 square is 4. And when I take the subtraction, I have 1. Bring down the next bar, it is 129. And twice of 2 is 4. And what will be the next number? Like I said, it's either, because I have a 9 here, it is either going to be 3 or 7. 7 is too big because it's 40s into 7 will become too big. So I'm going to write 3 and clearly you can see that this is going to work for me, right? So the square root of 529 is 23, right? Let's go to the fifth question. 3249. 3249. I'm going to first put the bars. 32, the closest perfect square is 25. 5 into 5 will give me 25. And when I subtract these two, I'm going to get 7 over here, correct? And then bring down the next bar, 749. Twice of 5 is 10. Now I have to figure out here what will fit here. Again, like I said, because it's a 9, it's either 3 or 7, okay? And clearly 3 won't work and 7 you can check that it's going to work. So the answer is 57. Therefore, square root of 3249 is equal to 57. Let's go to the sixth question. Sixth question I have 1369. Put the bars. 13. The closest is 9. 3 square is 9. Correct? And if I take the subtraction, I'm going to get 4. 469. Right? And twice of 3 is 6. What is going to be the next number? Again, because it's a 9, it's either 3 or a 7. Right? 3 is too small. So I'm going to check 7. 49. 42 plus 4 is 46. So 37 is my square root. Therefore, square root of 1369 is 37. Right? Next question I have 5776. Put the bars. 57. Closest is 7 square, which is 49. Okay. And if I take the subtraction of these two, I'm going to get 8. Bring down the bar. Here twice of 7 is 14. I have a 6 here. So it's either going to be 4 or 6, right? Because 4 square is 16, 6 square is 36. So let me check 6 because 144 is too small for 800 something. So I'm going to check 6. 36, 24, 27, 88, 76. So 6 is going to work for me. So the answer is 76. 5776. Square root is nothing but 76. Let's look at the 8th question. 7921. Okay. So I'm going to write it down here. 7921. 8th bit is 7921. Put the bars. 79 is closest to 8 square, right? Which is 64. Correct? Because 9 square will be too big. And then when I take the subtraction, I have a 5 here and I have 1 here. I have 15. Right? And now I'm going to bring down the next bar. Twice of 8 is 16. Now I have 1 here. Okay? So it's either 1, right? Or 9. 1 is clearly too small because 161 into 1 is 161. I have 1521 here. So it should be 9. Let me just cross check whether it works or not. Right? So it is 9 in fact. So the remainder is 0. Therefore, square root of 7921 is nothing but 89. Alright. Let's look at the 9th question. 9th bit. 576. Put the bars. 5 closest perfect square is 4. 2 square. Okay. Bring down the next bar. I have twice of 2 is 4. Right. I have a 6 here. So it's either 4 or a 6. 4 is definitely going to work. Or you can just check both of them one after the other, right? And you have your answer here. Square root of 576 is equal to 24. Okay. Let's look at the 10th question. Right? We got 89 and 24. Right. 10th question is 1024. 1024. Put the bars. 3 square is 9. Correct? Subtraction will give you 1. Bring down the next bar. Okay? And twice of 3 is 6. Right? And because I have a 4 here, it's either 2 square 4 or 8 square 64. That is too big, 8 square, right? So let's check 2 first. And yes, it's going to work. So I have square root of this is equal to 32. Okay? Next, 11th question, 3136. 5 square is 25. And when I subtract, I have 6 here. Double of 5 is 10. Now, because I have a 6 here, it's either 4 square or 6 square. And I have 600, so 6 should work. And clearly, it is working. The answer is 56, right? So, the next one, the last one in the first question. Okay. Let's look at the number question. 900. Okay, 900 it is, I think, of all the easy questions, this is the easiest. Put the bars, and 3 square is 9. If I subtract, I'm going to get 0. Bring down the next bar, which is 0. Twice of 3 is 6. 61 into 1 is 61, which is greater. So I'm just trying to do the long division method, but actually you can answer this directly. Therefore, square root of 900 is 30, right? So that is our first question. Second question was done in the previous video. In the third question, we did only one bit. Let's look at the second bit. Now I have to find the square root using long division. Only thing is, here you have decimal numbers. Okay. So we have seen how to put the bars for decimal numbers, because putting the bars is your first step. So you're going to put a bar under 29, because when you have a decimal, you will go in this direction after the decimal and this direction before the decimal. Okay. So you have one bar above 7 and one bar above 29. So I have 2 square 4. Subtract, I'll get 3, bring down the next bar, put a decimal over here, right? And double of this is 4. And because I have a 9 here, it's either going to be 3 or 7. Okay, 3 is too small. Let me check 7, 49 and 32 plus 28 plus 4 is 32. So 2.7 is my answer. Therefore, square root of 7.29 is equal to 2.7, right? So, let's look at the third bit, 51.84. Okay, put the bars. 51 closest is 49, which is 7 square. Okay, and when I subtract, I get a 2. Bring down the bar after putting a decimal here. And 14, I have to figure out this. I have a 4, that means it's either a 2 or a 8. Okay, 8 is too big because I have something in 200s. So it must be 2. Let me check. So it is 2. So the square root is 7.2. Therefore, square root of 51.84 is equal to 7.2. Right? Let's look at the fourth question. 42.25, right? 42.25. I'm going to put the bars. What is the closest perfect square to 42? 36, right? And when I subtract, I get a 6 and bring down the next bar after putting a decimal here. Double of 6 is 12. I have a 5, so definitely this has to be a 5. And I have 125 into 5 is 625. Therefore, square root of 42.25 is equal to 6.5. Okay, I have 6.5, right? So that is my answer for the fourth question. In fact, actually, like I said, whenever a number is ending with 5, okay, for example, if they ask you square of 65, we've already seen how to do that. We know that all we need to do is look at the number after I ignore 5, multiply it with the next number, right? And then what do you get? 42, right? So 42.25 is your answer, and we looked at the proof for this also. And if there is 6.5, there will be the decimal point will come after 2 digits, so it will become 42.25, right? So when you have to do the reverse, that is, if your number ends with 25, you can just do a quick check, like, is the number when I ignore 25, is it the product of two consecutive numbers? In that case, now here you can see that 6 into 7, so 6 has to be the remaining, the other part of the square root. Okay, so in that way, whenever you have a number ending with 25, the square root, there is it's easy for you to verify it using this method, since we've already done it in the first initial exercises. Okay, so next, the fifth question is 31.36. Put two bars. 5 into 5 is 25. 636. Twice of 5 is 10. And because it's a 6, clearly 6 will work. It's either 4 or 6, and in this case you can see that 6 is going to work. Please don't forget to put the decimal. Okay, so the answer is going to be 5.6. 31.36 is equal to 5.6. That is my answer. So let's go to the fourth question. In the fourth question, now here they're asking us to find the number that has to be subtracted. So we know that whenever they say number that has to be subtracted or added, it's going to be long division method. But I want you to remember that, the second step where you were earlier looking at the ones place, that you can't do here because you have to subtract something to make it a perfect square. That means it's not a perfect square. Okay. So that assumption that we earlier made in the first and third questions, we can't make that assumption here. Okay. So I have 1989. Okay. And this is not a perfect square. Keep in mind, because from the nature of the question that they have asked, it's very clear that this is not a perfect square. 4 4s 16. Okay. The remainder is 3. Bring down the next bar. I have 389. Now I have a 8 here. Okay. Now here what I'm saying is, don't go ahead and check because it's a 9, it's, and so on, because it won't work. So I have something in 300s. Okay. So let 81 into 1 is too small. 82 into 2 will give me something in 160s, right? Let me check 84 into 4. 16, 30 to 33. Okay. And 85 into 5 will be greater than 400. So that won't work. This is working. So I'm going to put 4 here. 336. So what is the remainder here? 53. And this is what we are interested in, right? So when I subtract 53 from the given number, I get a perfect square, right? And the square root of that perfect square is nothing but 44. That's my quotient. Okay. So what should be subtracted? 53 must be subtracted. And what is the square root of the number so obtained? It is 44. Okay. Let's go to the third question. 3250. Put the bars. I have 5 square again. 25. Difference is 7. 50. Double of 5 is 10. Okay. Here, because it's 700s, I'll quickly check 7 into 7. Okay. And it is working. So I have 7 into 7 is 749. Difference is 1. That means I have to subtract 1 from the given number to make it a perfect square. What is the square root? It is nothing but 57. Okay. So this is your third question. Next, let's go to the fourth question. I have 825. 825, correct? Yes. So if I have 2 square is 4. Subtract, I have 4. 25. Twice is 4. Now 400, you have to get it out of 40s, something in 40s. I'm going to straight away go to 9 first. Let us see what we'll get here. Okay, 81, 36 plus 8 is 44. This is too big. Let me check. Sorry. Let me check 8. Right? So this is 64. 32 plus 6 is 38. Okay. So 384 is going to work for me. Right? So I'm going to write 8 here. 384. I have to subtract these two. And I have 41. So what should be subtracted? 41 should be subtracted. And what is the square root of the resultant number? 28, which is my quotient here. Okay. So that is my fourth question. And then fifth question is 4,000. 4,000. Okay. So 40 is closest to 36. I have 400 here. 12. Right. Now 121 into 1 is only 121, right? Let me check 3, because 120 4 into 4 will give me something greater than 400. I don't want that. So if I check for 3, I'm getting 369, right? So this should work. 369, right? And the subtraction gives me 31. That means I have to subtract 31 from the given number to make it a perfect square, and the square root is going to be 63. Okay, so this is your sums regarding subtracting something to make it a perfect square, right? The next question is find the least number which must be added, okay, so as to make it a perfect square. Now, even in this case, the first step is anyway going to be the first step is going to be we are going to do the long division, right? So first sum is already done. So let me go to the second bit over here. Fifth question. I have 1750. Put the bars, do the long division, and then we can discuss. 16, 150. Twice of 4 is 8, right? Now 82 into 2 is 160 something, which is greater than 150. So I have to take 81 only. And I have the remainder, which is actually not important, but still we have to show it. It is 69. Right? Now what are we going to do? Now they're asking you what should be added to make it a perfect square. Now 1750 is clearly not a perfect square, okay? But between which two perfect square does it lie? I know that 41 square is less than 1750, and definitely 1750 is less than 42 square. 42 square. So let us find out what this 42 square is. 42 into 42 will give me 1764. So what should be added to 1750 to make it 1764? I have to add 14 to it. Okay. So the answer, what should be added? 14 should be added. And what is the square root of that perfect square? 42. Right? If they've asked. And also find the square root of the perfect square. So the answer is 42. Okay. Next question, 252. Put the bars, 1 square, difference is 1. Bring down the next bar. It's 150 something, and I'm going to check 7 because 20 into 7 is, but it's too large. Let me check. 7 2s, it's going to give me 189. Okay, this is too big. Let us check 6, 36, 156, almost there. I'm going to write 5 here. Okay, 25 5s, 75. 156 is also larger. So I'm going to write 25. Okay, 25 5s, 125. Sorry, not 75. It's 125. And when I subtract these two, I have the remainder as 7 here, and the remainder is 27. Correct? Okay. Now I have to check what should be added, right? So let me write down the given number, and I know that this number is greater than 15 square and less than 16 square. And what is 16 square? We know that it is 256. By now it should be noted to you. And so what should be added to 252 to make it a perfect square? I have to add 4 to it, right? So if I add 4 to the given number, it becomes a perfect square. And what is the square root of that perfect square? It is 16. So that is your third question. And then in the fourth question, they're asking 1825. Put the bars, 4 square is 16, right? I have 225. Double of 4 is 8. And if I take 8 into 2, 82 into 2, I have 164. Should work because 83 into 3 will become 240 something, which greater than 240. So 164 should work. 164. I have 1 and 6 here. So the remainder is 61, right? So I have 1825 lying between 42 square and 43 square. And what is 43 square? 43 into 43 is, I have 91849. That means what should be added? I have to add 24. If I add 24 to the given number, I am going to get a perfect square, and the square root of that perfect square is 43. Okay. So this is about the fourth sum, and the fifth sum is 6412. Put the bars. 8 square is 64. Okay. And the next bar is 12. This is a 0. 16 into what? I have to put a 0 here. Okay. And the remainder is 12. Right. So 80 square is less than 6412 is less than 81 square. Right. So now I'm going to find out 81 square. Okay. I have 81 into 81 is 6561. Right. So what should be added? I'll be adding 149 to the given number to make it a perfect square. And what is the square root of that perfect square? It is 81. The square root of that perfect square is 81. Right. So that is about your fifth question, 5 bits. Right. And the rest of them we have already solved in the previous video. Okay. So with this we complete this chapter, squares and square roots.